Gronk is no longer a Patriot. This is just as big as Tom Brady going to the Patriots. I think even bigger because technically he's coming out of retirement, even though the Patriots had him kind of signed. He traded what was it? It was they traded a 7th round and Rob Gronkowski for a 4th round.
For 4th round pick.
So yeah, we're just gonna go over like what we think about the whole thing. Like first thought was, I don't know, what was your guys' first thoughts?
My first thought was poop Tide Pod. That's literally my first thought.
Yeah, throwback to an old episode when we talked about Rob Gronkowski throwing Tide Pods off of a parade.
And grabbing his girlfriend Boopy.
Yeah.
I haven't said booby in a while.
Yeah. Booby is an interesting one. But enough booby talk. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you like Gronkowski in New England?
In New England?
Or, I mean, in Tampa Bay?
My first thoughts of right now, unexcited. I probably don't even have him in my top 10. I was just looking through them and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's like, I just don't, like, I got to pull it up, but it was like all the way down to like, you get to like, I think who's 9, 10 range. And we have Hunter Henry, Derek Waller, you got Ertz, those guys. I mean, I'd even rather take some upside guys, possibly like Noah Fant. I was digging into it. And
Eric Ebron, maybe?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I didn't even have him in my top 10. And then I could see me sliding him down into my 13, 14 range. But to me, that's kind of, I'm not drafting you if you're 14.
Yeah.
So it's just my early thoughts, or I'm just not really unexcited for it.
Yeah, I think for fantasy-wise, I'm not excited for it. I definitely think it's interesting him going there. I don't know. I think. What do you think initially?
I mean, we kind of saw Gronk that last year. He kind of fell off. I know, he's battled so many injuries for so long. Maybe sitting out a year, he finally allowed his body to recover. But, I mean, he just didn't look the same. He didn't look like Gronk out there that last year he was there. So, if anything, this just makes things more murkier over there in Tampa Bay. Like, we were kind of like, when we were breaking down the receivers, we were talking about it's kind of hard to really gauge, Godwin and Mike Evans because, going from Jameis Winston, this gunslinger, to Tom Brady, how is that really going to impact their value? So now it's just another mouth to feed, and a mouth that like is basically Tom Brady's best friend. So I'm not sure where I value Mike Evans now. I think his stock takes a pretty good hit. Godwin could probably stay the same because he should line up in that slot and be that slot guy. But I mean, I don't know if Tom Brady's going to be able to sustain 3 guys, Gronk, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. So I'm a little worried about that. If anything, maybe they just boost Tom Brady's stock. If you want to take a shot on Tom Brady, it's early, but just another weapon, a red zone weapon at least, for Tom Brady, a familiar red zone weapon too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could all agree OJ Howard is probably going to get traded.
Yeah,
I would say probably like during the draft or probably right after.
Yeah, maybe. During the draft is probably more realistic.
Yeah,
so he should be.
I mean, so obviously that's gone from most likely, it seems like. And then to me, I think what's going to happen is I think it depends on 2 things: is whether or not it becomes Tom Brady's offense or if it stays Bruce Arians' offense. Because like Tom Brady kind of called a lot of shots in New England. He would do some play calling, things like that. So I think if that happens, then Gronk will be used like that. But I think the big thing here is that I think Gronk is just going to take defenses away from guys like Chris Godwin. I think it actually might help Mike Evans a little bit in that way, just because I think you see like when Gronk was like in his prime, he kind of got double coverage.
Yeah.
You just couldn't really do anything when he was there. So I think if anything, it will just help those receivers because I think defenses are just going to be like, oh, fuck, Tom Brady and Gronk. They're just going to be expecting that. I don't know. That's just kind of like my initial thought. That's what I thought.
Well, there's something to the whole COVID-19 situation where it's like if this extends into July, August, and the season's going to start in September. I mean, unfortunately for Tom Brady, we don't know if he's sitting in a field with Godwin and Mike Evans behind closed doors, going and practicing. I mean, if this was to say goes into August and the season is going to start on time, I mean, there is a little bit of he does have some chemistry with Gronkowski built in there. So it's a little bit to Mike's point. There is some familiarity. Even though I'm with you, right, he looked not even close to the same player, and it's going to be almost 2 years out. So he's definitely going to be slower and aged and all that. But, how much time is he going to have to build with Mike Evans and Godwin and these other players if these guys don't get practicing until, let's just say, August? So that's something to take into consideration, like down the road, which is like,
Right.
and we don't know where it's going to go. But I just, kind of looking at some names right here, with just kind of the top tight ends. I mean, I'm going to skip probably the top like 6 or 7. I mean, you got Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, Noah Fant, Higbee, and Gronk. Those are like kind of 5 guys that are in there. I'm probably taking, I might take all those guys over Gronk, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is just early. I just,
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not touching Gronk, and I
Yeah.
don't think in any fantasy, just because his name value is like it's too much, and I the only reason I would do it is maybe so I could trade him to somebody who really, really wants him, But even then, if they really, really want him, they're gonna end up drafting him at a higher draft price than I'm willing to do. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's him. I think it has to do with
there's going to be one or
everybody
two
else.
guys in your leagues who's like, oh, Gronk, and
they're gonna grab, but that's
and they're
the
going to
thing.
grab him in like as a top like 5 tight end, and like everyone's going to be like, bro, you could have got him in like the 10th round.
Yeah.
You just took him in the 4th.
Yeah.
That's going to happen in a good amount of leagues.
Yeah.
Unless you listen to us, then you won't make that mistake. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. I think one thing to monitor, kind of what you just said, is it going to be Arians' offense, or is Tom Brady going to kind of take the reins? Because we heard a lot of chatter that we were big on OJ Howard, because the talent's there. I mean, the guy's a physical specimen. He's like 6'7", like runs like a 4.5 40. He's just a massive guy. He's like 6'5", 500 pounds out there running slant routes. But
Let's play baseball.
another episode. But we saw how like even as talented, and athletic that guy is, just in that Arians offense, he just wasn't incorporated.
Right.
And that's what we heard. Bruce Arians doesn't incorporate the tight end in his offense. So it'll be interesting to see now what Tom Brady, and Gronk, they have that connection and that rapport from New England. Does that change, or does it still go back to that? Like, like maybe he'll get involved here and there, kind of like a Witten, like maybe a couple catches here and there, some red zone
I
threats.
I think it's this. What's the bigger story? Bruce Arians doesn't like tight ends, or Tom Brady loves Gronk? I think Tom Brady loves Gronk. Everybody's going to be expecting that. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Bruce Arians to like incorporate Rob Gronkowski.
I mean, they traded for him for a reason.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
yeah. I mean, they did get they could trade OJ Howard for picks and then still,
Yeah.
and then and they got a 4th round.
but there's a
pick.
reason,
They
like I
fucking
said, why they got him. Because guys coming out of retirement, so. Like I always say, there's always a reason why you go out and sign some guy. There's always a reason why you go out and trade for someone. So that obviously weighs into the factor on how they might use him. I think Godwin's value stays the same, like I said, and I am just a little worried about Mike Evans. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with Mike Evans, I kind of like this for Mike Evans because I think it's going to dip his ADP. Potentially, we got to see, but I think it might dip his ADP to a point of where I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because it's the tight end position, even though I low-key didn't even realize this. They had they had 115 targets, I think, last year. That's not like the bottom barrel. That's not the top of it, but it's middle of the pecking order. I don't think Gronk's going to demand a high target share. I mean, I don't even think he's going to be out there probably more than a 60% snap share. I don't think they're going to use him in blocking plays. They have OJ Howard, who's good at that if they do keep him, or Cameron Brate. So he's going to be in a limited snap count. So, I mean, how much of that target share, I think the pass attempts in general come down, but how much of that target share is going to really change? I mean, it could stay just about the same. I mean, and that's why I kind of like this move for like Mike Evans, because people might be thinking, oh, Mike Evans is going to, now he has Gronk to worry about, and his target share might realistically stay the same. And Brady could put up, I think I've said it multiple times, he could put up, 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns this year. And I think if you get Mike Evans in the 4th round because of this, I think that could end up being a really good value, potentially.
Yeah.
So I like it from that aspect too, because there's always like positive, negative. Like, now people see Gronk, so that's a negative for Mike Evans, but now you might be getting Mike Evans at a value because of this move.
Yeah. What about Tom Brady now? So obviously he's got his boy Gronk there, Godwin, Evans, these are some weapons he has in that Arians offense. I mean, do you think Tom Brady could be a top 10 quarterback?
I don't know if it helps that
There's a lot of deep. There's a
top
lot
10,
of quarterbacks,
maybe.
I feel like, but
maybe top 10, but I mean, I don't know.
I mean, he's still
I don't like Tom Brady.
He's still had elite weapons in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, OJ Howard, like we said, he's still a talent, and Cameron Brate. It's not like these guys can't get open in the end zone. So I mean, even if you say these tight ends were going to get 6 to 8 touchdowns combined, I mean, I think Gronk's ceiling might be 6 to 8 touchdowns.
yeah.
So it's like, does it really change it that much? Yeah, maybe he might have a little more chemistry, and on a certain play or two, they might be able to come up with something. But I don't know if it necessarily raises the ceiling that much.
For sure.
I mean, do you think he'll be top 10?
You talking about Tom fucking Brady, bro?
How about you take out that 0?
I don't. I mean,
I think
10,
it boosts his value a little bit. You gotta think his stock goes up a little bit. I mean, compared to what it was. I think there's some good quarterbacks in these later rounds. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at drafting 2 quarterbacks. Like, you know me, I like drafting 2 quarterbacks and kind of just playing matchups. So I wouldn't be mad at drafting Tom Brady and like a Tannehill or Tom Brady and I don't know.
Well, I think Tom
Baker
Brady
Mayfield or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think he can be good, but what makes it hard nowadays is like you get these Josh Allens of the world in fantasy. Like their NFL production is different than fantasy. They like a quarterback 4 because they run the ball. And then you're gonna have like Kyler Murray. You might have, let's just say Burrow or Tua. Let's just say Tua ends up starting somewhere and he's rushing the ball a lot with his legs. You get these rushing quarterbacks that by default end up sneaking into the top 10 because they run the ball. So it's like. And that's starting to become more of the norm with these quarterbacks. So,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, while I think you might get some consistent play out of Tom Brady, it's hard to say if he's going to for sure be a top 10 because of, like I said, that fact, these quarterbacks that run the ball and that with that given.
Yeah, I don't know.
For sure. Well, the draft's coming up. I'm hyped for the draft. It's going to be like Christmas.
I know. I'm horny, dude.
Christmas in July?
I'm
Christmas
super
in
fucking horny for the draft.
We're going to do a live stream, so...
Yeah, if you're watching this video, you found this interesting at all, we're doing an NFL live draft companion, NFL 2020 draft companion podcast. It's going to be more of just like a live stream while we watch the draft. There's a lot of rumors saying that it's not really going well in the test mock drafts they put together. Yeah. Have you guys heard?
Yeah.
They've been talking about it on Twitter, saying it's not doing...
Auto draft.
Yeah, it's
How
not
did they used
well.
to do though? They made a phone call.
So well, they didn't have internet. They didn't have internet. So I mean, I don't
Makes
know.
sense, right? Back
Yeah,
in the
they
day.
used to. But that's
Dial
the
up,
thing is,
dog.
Yeah.
It's busy.
but the thing is, we used to do everything. We used to do everything without internet. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like,
They
like
used to-
yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like when I don't know how to do something, I just Google it. It's like that's what they're having problems with is all these little things that they like. Oh no, that we just do it. Oh wait, we can't do that.
I feel like teams are going to try and like cheat the system. Like, oh, we were trying to trade, but there's a glitch and
There's some funny memes out there about it. This guy made a video. I posted on our story, but yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting at least.
It's probably the only time in our lifetime this will happen.
The problem was apparently is that all these like coaches and stuff, they have fucking like they don't have enough bandwidth. They have like really shitty internet at their house, so they're like trying to do a 30-way Zoom call with all the other teams and like yeah, and apparently they just don't have enough bandwidth to do that. So I don't know, or they just have too many people on their fucking router or some shit. They probably have like a link system. I mean, you got to think some of these older coaches, dude. There's no like Bill Belichick. What kind of fucking router does he have in his house?
He's probably got the best router.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. Actually, he probably has.
Doesn't
He's
use
probably like
Wi-Fi.
Hillary Clinton.
I can see him not using Wi-Fi.
He's got an email server in his fucking bathroom, like Hillary.
You ever see the videos of Bill Belichick? He like throws the tablet. He's like, I don't know how to fucking use this thing. He just like throws it. They're like, Coach, it's like $1,000 tablet.
He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Take it out of my paycheck.
I mean, I don't blame him. I would probably throw that shit if I was his age.
For sure.
Working with laminated fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have text messages, right? Hey, Roger, we're taking Burrow.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting. So that's our thoughts on Rob Gronkowski to the Buccaneers. Pretty fucking crazy. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed Rob going to. I wouldn't have guessed him.
Not this early. I didn't
The
think
guy was retired
Yeah.
a week ago.
He was fucking wasn't it WWE?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Did you see the Vince McMahon meme where he's like, "Where is he?" Like it's from a different thing, but they're like when he finds out Gronk goes back into the NFL, and it's like Vince McMahon's fucking running around. Let's go get him! Fucking let's go! It's hilarious. It's really funny. I'll show it to you after. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on it. Check us out on the live stream on Thursday. I think it's 5:00 as the draft starts. We'll probably start the live stream around 4:30 just to get like things rolling.
Mountain West time.
Pacific Standard Time, 4:00. The draft starts at 8:00 Eastern Time.
Yeah.
Anthony looks so small.
Well, just hella
I
short.
just demushroomed down. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Thanks for listening to us. Check out our most recent episodes of the podcast where we talked about the rookies coming to the year, all the wide receivers, every wide receiver you need to know, and every running back you need to know coming into the draft. We covered them. So check those ones out, episode 10 and 11 of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. And that's it.
I
See you,
look like a
boys.
dwarf down here.